I believe that the most common prayer by Nigerians right now is, oh my God, keep me and my loved ones in sound health, be it physical, mental, or emotional. Believe me, assessing health care, if you consider the financial implications today, is as scary and unpredictable as any other thing.
That's right.
I have a testimony in that regard.
That's right, Helen. Even the government hospitals are not exempted from this. I hear almost on a daily basis there's an increase in costs of drugs and treatment. Consider yourself wealthy and lucky if you have no need to visit any medical facility in this time of lack and hardship.
You can say that again, John. That's such a true and correct statement. Now, the saying health is wealth is so real right now. Hello there. Thanks for choosing to join us this weekend on the family-centric program. I'm Oma Helen Odeleye. Trust me, it is always a privilege to be here, sharing thoughts, sharing experiences with you.
So, we made it to the new month, despite all the odds against us. I'm yours sincerely, John Sanaya, and I welcome you to another edition of the program Today with John and Helen, live. As always, we have a well thought out, exciting, and impactful package for you. So please make a decision to stay and soak it all in. We have to pause for a quick break now. Yes, Helen?
Okay.
And when we come back, the show will start proper.
Yes, proper. Join us again. Thanks for staying tuned. The program is Today with John and Helen live, and we are coming your way from PlusTvAfrica. What coping or survival strategies have you discovered and adopted? Today we shall enlarge your knowledge based on mental health with one of our guests, who is Dr. Douglas Jombo.
Yes, Dr. Jombo is MD CEO, Sabtah Medics here in Lagos, Ikoyi to be precise. We shall also be inviting you to join in the conversation centered around women and dignity in a gender-biased workplace with Eniton Sophie Oluwa, a development practitioner.
And not to forget the weekly celebration of our culture, trademark of hard work and heritage on the Culture Conversation segment with Chizoba Ofigbo. John, is there anything new and important that we could just rush through?
Yes, straight away, the floods.
Wow, Wednesday.
The heavens opened sometime during the week and we were submerged.
I was so lucky. I was so lucky. I was just about going for a meeting and they called me to say, please don't move.
I had to turn back.
Third mainland is a no-no.
I had to turn back and go back home. Yes.
So I was lucky. I was lucky. On my mind also, and in line with our conversation this morning, is the fact that, you know, everywhere you turn, all of the news, you know, is about one young person, one poor person, one rich person just bowing out and saying, I've had enough. I can't take it anymore. Is it in Benin? Is it in Port Harcourt? Is it in Calabar? Is it in Jos? All over. Young people, whoever it is, you know, they're bowing down and committing suicide.
And that's really sad. That's really sad.
That's very sad.
I guess we'll be in here.
That's very sad.
So maybe give us a little insight into why people are bowing out so easily.
All right. Okay. So we shall continue to preach that here, you know, no matter where we find ourselves. On this conversation today, like you said, we're having somebody who will look into that. Another quick break just beckons. When we're done with that, please, very quickly, we will have the guest join us on the program. He's already seated. You're still watching Today with John and Helen live on PlusTvAfrica, and if you just tuned in, you're very welcome. And our first guest today is a master degrees holder in public health with a PhD in health management. He's also a fellow of the Institute of Humanitarian Studies and Social Development. Dr. Douglas Jombo brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to the conversation today as we take a closer look at the importance of mental health management and focus on correctional facilities here in Nigeria. Welcome to the show, sir. You're looking so cool. Like say you're not doing Niger.
That is the idea. You are talking mental health.
We're talking to you.
If you act like you did Niger, wahala dey.
Okay.
So, Doctor, we'll be right to say that mental health is currently an epidemic. It's everywhere. Thanks for coming, and we shall get right to it because I mean we spent quite some time already. I was so eager to ask you some questions.
All right. I would like to just start from the beginning, and the beginning for me is: are we in trouble? How serious is this issue of mental health, and how much do people understand it?
I'll start directly by saying yes, we're in trouble, and the trouble is increasing, which is why it is coming to the fore. And the challenge is right there. The answer is in the question you asked. It's something that is pushed to the background. And so by the time it is coming out, little or nothing can be done. And you see an outburst, you see a disaster in your hands. You're seeing people taking very serious actions to the extent of taking their lives and all that, because there is an underlying problem which is progressively growing. And it is coming to a place in our climb where if we don't do something about it in any way or form, it's going to consume us.
Okay. That's assumed that we're not doing much about it right now. From your statement.
We're not.
We're not doing enough about it.
We're not doing enough. We're not doing nearly enough.
Or we don't even understand it enough.
Yes, I will say yes, we don't, because those who understand it are very few. And so, take for instance, the understanding of the topic. A lot of times, because of the way we handle things in our society, it is when it is at the very extreme a diagnosis is made.
Okay, so I think it even goes beyond the understanding. I'm going to ask you a direct question, Dr. Jombo. Can you tell us a bit about your background and how come you have become interested in talking about the importance of mental health management in our correctional facilities? That's what we normally would call our prisons.
Yeah. Well, first I was a medical doctor.
Yes.
And as a medical student, I visited a medium facility. Then a prison, now a correctional center. And the experience I had was very touching. As a student, I saw people who shouldn't be in that place being there. People who were due to leave that place, not living there.
Still there.
Still there. I saw people who were ready, haven't served their time, are ready to be integrated in society, not ready to go into society.
Wow.
Even wanting
to stay long.
One of them actually said to me, I prefer the calm in this place.
The environment there.
Yes. Because when you go into that place, you find that there is a big dichotomy between those who are serving their term and the others. And I'll begin to explain who the others are.
Okay, we'll come to that.
So that began to affect my mind. And as a doctor, as I grew older and practiced more, I began to think about it, and I started engaging myself in some sort in what this problem is about.
All right, so on the surface, on the outside, we all have a negative perception about the state of our correctional facilities. What are some common mental cases, issues that inmates themselves face in these facilities?
First, let me start by giving you a little background, because you made a statement. You said that on the surface we are averse. So, and I will say to you, first and foremost, what is health? let's start from that basic definition. The World Health Organization tells us that health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being.
Okay.
And it is not just the mere absence of disease or infirmity. And when we look at the three basic areas mentioned, physical, mental, and social, it is anchored on the mental. It is on your mental state that affects your physical. Your mental state tells you what you will do socially.
Okay.
When people don't want to socialize, it's because of what's going on in their mind. When people don't act in a certain way, it's because of what's happening in their mind that is affecting their physique.
True.
And so the mental health is very key to this definition and our approach. And that has been relegated.
Wow.
Now, I want to give us a little historical perspective. Because you see, in our climate where we grew up, we don't have prisons. We don't have correctional centers. It is like foreign to us. Because in our various villages and localities, we had institutional procedures of handling dissidents. And so, you will see somebody is in the society but is ostracized as punishment for an action. The person does not need to be locked up anywhere. But when he goes to the marketplace, they will not buy from him. They will not communicate with him. And that every individual being aware of this, make sure they don't do that thing that will cause them to be in that position where they will not be able to socialize, and which is going to affect their mind, their mental health, and ultimately physically affect them. So the society that we grew up in, what we have in our climate in Africa, took care of it in an integrative way. And so this correctional buildings is foreign to us.
Yeah.
And then how did it come about in our history? The white men, in quote, that brought it did not bring it in to help us. It came in when they began to deal with us, subdue us, and those of us who resisted were actually arrested, taken and to put somewhere.
Incarcerated.
To be incarcerated. And so, because of that, they trained people amongst us and amongst themselves in how to handle this.
Yeah.
And that training is still going on till today. So that the average prison warder or your correctional officer sees an individual in prison as a criminal, as a dissident. And so his actions towards him is reflective of his own mental and training, his mental state and his training. And so he sees anybody that is brought in, oh, he's a bad person. That's why he's brought here. He is anti-society, and begins to deal with the person
As such.
Okay, so having said that,
yeah,
when the incarceration happens, something then happens to the inmate. We have talked broadly about mental health, state of this, that. Could you break it down to us? What are some of the things that we are likely to see? I mean, how does addressing mental health in correctional facilities benefit the inmates and by extension the families and society? What will change? Tell us.
But what happens, it starts from the society. And there is a process. You don't just start and they bundle you into a correctional or a prison facility. You are first arrested, and then you go into a police station. You stay there. They tell us that bail is free, but we know that bail is not free. And so I tell them at every opportunity I have, bail is not free. Stop saying it is free. And when you cannot bail yourself,
why do they say it's free when it is not free?
Because in the books
it is free.
It is free. And nothing happens by the books in our environment.
Wow.
Okay.
So They now take you, if you cannot bail yourself and have nobody to bail you, they now move you to the correctional facility, which is not correcting anything. And so the person is now dealing with depression. The person is dealing with life dissatisfaction. The person is dealing with isolation.
Anger.
Now we are getting there. Isolation. The person is dealing with anger. The person is dealing with a new confrontation. What is that? Illicit activities, including illicit drugs. And the way illicit drug comes to the person is not just because the person wants it initially. It comes in a way that makes the person want to deal with another problem. The person is not well taken care of. The person is hungry. Initially, the illicit drug suppresses the hunger symptom. Hunger is a symptom that is in the body to help you know when to eat. So when that hunger comes and you can't eat, increases your depression. They now give you something to take. You smoke a little bit of cannabis. It suppresses your hunger. And you begin to desire cannabis some more. Because you are not being fed. So you see, one thing is leading to the other. The person begins to deal with stigmatization. First, within the system. And stigmatization is actually broad. Because there is societal and community stigmatization. And there is self-stigmatization. The person looks at you and says, I'm not worth anything. Wow. I cannot integrate. That's why somebody will tell you, I'm ready to, you are going to go out next month. How are you feeling? I don't want to go. Self-stigmatization. He has not gone to the community to see how the community will react. He's already telling himself he's not good enough, he's not worth it, he cannot cope. Then you go to all the others. And when you look at the society, who are we looking at? When we talk about correctional facilities, we are in a climb that is a very youthful population. I mentioned earlier about people who were just taken to a police station and hauled into. And when you get into the prison system, you find that the prison system, those who are serving their time, they're actually taken care of to an extent. It is those who are waiting trials. Those that pre-trial inmates are the ones that are suffering, and they are the ones that are more. And so this person has been taken. We are in a youthful environment. A lot of our youths have been taken. That same thing I told you earlier about the training of the correctional facility manager also translates to the training of the police officer. So a young lad is seen on the streets. The police goes in on a raid and they pick up people and they haul them in and nobody bails them. They take them. That child is innocent. But it's in an environment where the police came for an activity. That child, what is that child actually suffering from? Is that child a juvenile delinquent, or is that child a neglected child? And we are living in a time where you are seeing 14-year-olds looking like they are 20. And so the police officer sees him and takes him. In his body, he's looking older. In his mind, he's still a child. And so that person is going to be introduced to a complete environment that person shouldn't be. There is no season. It's a family program. There is no selective measure being taken. This person may just be passing here. The policeman has not been trained to decipher. The correctional officer has not been trained to decipher. That is one group. There's another group of people that we don't even mention. Women. I have not been reeling out statistics because we just want to get to the brass tacks. Between the year 2000 and now, 50% of inmates are women. Where the women population in prison is increasing.
Wow.
And these women come with special needs. a woman has a special need.
This is
This woman. No, when we talk about correctional, I'm sure you thought I was coming to talk about prisons.
This is a conversation. One whole.
That is it. Because we are not dealing. That's why when you asked the question earlier, I answered. You didn't know what I was saying. I said we are in a problem. Like I tell my friends, let me digress a bit. Like I tell my friends, I say when we deal with corruption in this country, you will see that we have a bigger problem, and that problem is the problem of certification.
Okay.
Most people who you think are educated are not. They have gone to the university, to the polytechnic to get a certificate, but they are not educated.
True.
So, I'm dealing with the woman. This woman has been apprehended. This woman has been brought in. The woman is 2 months pregnant, and the woman, by her nature, will not tell you. She's in jail. So then the correctional officer says that her stomach is bulging, and it becomes another wahala. That is what we said. Look at her, she's pregnant, a useless woman. The woman is going to deliver. I don't want to go. That woman delivers in prison, and that child becomes a prisoner.
The child becomes a prisoner.
An innocent child, because that child was delivered in prison. And so that child, the correctional officer does not have what it takes to deal with that situation, and lumps all of them together. That child is now being exposed to a world from young that he or she should have nothing to do with.
Okay, John just said something that this is a part one, and I agree with him totally. We will not waste any time with the conclusion of this conversation. So next week, sir, yes, we need to, because we have not even scratched the surface of this. We have not looked at the solution. So as we get ready, we're told we have 5 minutes for this segment or 4. Have you been able to record any success? Have you been able to help 1, 2, 3 women, men, girls, boys?
That's a very interesting question. I belong to an organization called the Rotary Club, and in that organization we do a lot in this area where qualified lawyers come into the fore to help. My organization and my clinic will also engage, because when we begin to talk about solutions, I will begin to reel out some things that we should begin to do if we want this mayhem, like I would target, to be controlled, not even dealt with, to be controlled, because right now it's out of control. When you look at the various facets of what we are dealing with, you will find that it is in the background, because we as a society, we throw money at things, and when you throw money at things, you don't get solution. The budget for correctional, the Ministry of Interior is 10 billion.
What are they doing with it? What's the specific?
Is there I'm going to reel out a clear-cut possible plan where these things can be put into place. For instance, we have a body of trained people in our society. We call them diploma holders. Diploma in law, diploma in social works. What are we using them for? How are we going to intervene at various levels to ensure that we bring down the possibility of taking people? When you go down the road from where we are now to the roundabout, the Ikoyi Hotel roundabout and all that, we are going to see people, young people, and when the police comes to raid that place, they are going to pick those people up. Those people are there because, one, they are 12 in their family. They are living in one room. Children come in different ways. A child, all of you lie on the ground. Once you put your leg on this child, that child will not sleep. The other one is asleep, but this one does not like being hassled. When night comes, he's afraid to go to that place called home. He hangs around.
And probably finds a place that seems to be more comfortable. He's picked up. So I'm trying to help you see to the basics of what could possibly be leading to what. Poverty has been weaponized. You know, when we say it,
It is a general statement. Poverty has been weaponized. The average man does not understand what weaponization of poverty is. When you get to the correctional facility, you see a bit of it.
John.
Honestly, this wasn't. I think
We thought we were just going to be happy.
I know.
Really, we haven't even moved into the correctional facility.
Yes.
This is just.
We want to know how do we get there.
Get there.
We will.
So when you now get into the correctional facility, what is going on there?
Dr. Jombo, you do us a favor. Can we do this part 2?
Thank you. Even before you say yes.
So the question is, thank you too, but the question is, will it be next week? That's the question.
So that we don't.
Because next Saturday,
we have to finish this.
We have to finish.
We have to finish.
We'll talk about it.
Let's talk about it. We're leaving people
This is
hanging,
massive.
you know.
It is massive, and it is so massive because of that is why I try to give you a historical antecedent.
And that was very necessary.
I try to help you see, because once, even when you pass through the prisons, there's a prison not too far from us here, they are bad people.
That's it.
Is that the case?
That's it. Even when they come home.
Okay.
Yes! I've not even begun to tell you, because I've mentioned, you said I should mention, I've mentioned depression, I've mentioned isolation, I've mentioned stigmatization, I've mentioned a couple of things.
Yeah.
How does the community react to those things?
Okay. So those are the questions that we'll try to answer, find answer to them next week.
Okay.
But for today, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Mental health issues.
Thank you so much.
You know, they've taken a totally new dimension. But information dissemination is key to providing the people with the power to say, I can still make it to the next day, you know. And that has been extremely useful. I am so touched. Once again, thank you, sir.
I'm awestruck, like they say, you know. But anyway, awareness creation is key, and we are, like you said, and we're committed
We'll continue
to, you know, being that channel and helpline. We're grateful for your time, I must say, Dr. Douglas Jombo, MD CEO, Sabtah Medics. You've taken us through the introductory bit. Very good. That's it. Well, next up is Culture Conversation with Chizoba Mofegbu.
And remember that you're watching today with John and Helen live on PlusTvAfrica. Also, that later on, women and effecting dignity in a gender-biased workplace will take center stage with Anita Sophia Uluwa, a development practitioner. But right now, like John said, it's time to invite Chizoba Ofebu to take us through the Culture Conversation segment.